Okay, good start. Okay, I am talking to Katia Bursel, is it, or Burkle?
It's Burkle.
Burkle, Katia Burkle and Grace Chia. And we know what Chia is because we have it in our. No, I don't know. And so I'm talking to them today. One is down in Tassie and Katia is here in Melbourne, I believe.
Yes.
And we're going to have a discussion about a whole range of stuff that's pretty interesting. So let's start at the very beginning. Uh, have you always, both of you, first of all, both of you are artists, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you always wanted to be artists? You know, how did this thing start? Where did it come from? We'll go backward and forward sort of thing, and we
We're
can
going to be too polite with each other. You go, Grace.
you can jump in and out with each other and say that I did that too or whatever, because
Yeah.
basically this is just a conversation that's
Sounds
trying
good.
to give the public an understanding.
For sure. Well, I've always wanted to be an artist and I work in a lot of different mediums. So I think I started as a photographer and then got into spoken word poetry and then into hip hop and have always found love and safety in art and in all the different forms of it.
I think I'm similar to Grace in the sense that art comes in many forms to myself as well. It started off as hip hop dancing. So for me, it was Justin Timberlake's Senorita came on, and I remember I just started dancing, and I realized I had this love for movement through my body and for sort of hip hop, and then moved into listening to rap and hip hop, and started practicing other artists' songs, and then realized, hey, I really love this, and also like Grace used to write a lot of poetry, so it kind of goes hand in hand.
Okay, and briefly, can you each sort of describe your event process? Like, you know, I started singing, I started gigging, I started this happened, I started because both of you are event organizers. We're going to talk about events soon. So there's some of that will be interesting to when we start talking about events to find out a little bit about, where you came from and how this thing progressed to this place where you're at the moment.
You want to go, Claudia?
So for myself, as I said, I started off hip hop dancing and grew up on the Sunshine Coast, and I moved to Melbourne at 17 to study performing arts full time because I realized I had a real love and a passion for it. So I moved here. It was sort of a full spectrum musical theatre, dancing, singing. And then it was only about 3, 4 years ago that I actually first stepped into my first vocal booth, into a recording studio. And I remember the magic that just took over me. I listened to a beat, I went into the booth, I closed my eyes, and I just freestyled this song for 6 minutes. And I came out and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that was like tapping into the ether. So then from there was when I started going, I really love this, started working on music. I also have a business mind, so I have my own commercial cleaning business. So I've always kind of got my mind on how can I make a full-time living out of doing something that I love. And my goal has always been to do something that's my passion and my purpose aligned with like something that's, my life's work, so that I'm actually doing for a business. And that's how the events idea has always been something I've had. It's something I've always said since I was younger that using my skill sets of being organized, I like to manage people. I like to see the bigger picture of things. So using those skill sets, it all comes together with the love of music. And I went, all right, I'd love to do something in events. So yeah, one thing led to another, and started off these hip hop events at the Vineyard in St Kilda. It was born with two of my business partners, Roxy and Chuka from Wax One. And now it's been a year and a half of us, running these events, and big things to come.
Good stuff.
Hmm, let's see. Um, I started, uh, as I said, photography, and then I started doing spoken word, doing slam poetry gigs when I was 16. And then I did them every month until I was 20. Started transitioning into hip hop gigs and doing like some singing and some hip hop. And this is all in Launceston. And then in 2020, like 2 weeks before COVID hit, I moved to Hobart to pursue music and art. And I got asked if I wanted to put on like a headline gig in 2021. But I still felt pretty early in my career. And so I thought I'd just put on a gig with my mates and have a hip hop gig because at the time there wasn't a lot of events for underground hip hop here in Tassie. And so I started running that. and I've been running gigs like that ever since then. Run monthly open mics, do like takeovers at festivals here and gigs around the state. And yeah, I think now it's like all the things have come together and I'm running events and doing the graphic design or I'm doing music, but also helping other women get into hip hop and
Fantastic.
was really there was only maybe 3 women attending gigs. I was the only woman rapping at the start. There were definitely women before me, but they'd stopped when I'd started. And so my goal has always been to create spaces that are more inviting and safer for women to enjoy music, the music they love. Um, and so that's kind of been the journey for the last few years.
That's fantastic. A quick question that I'm interested in, just a quick thing. Both of you started pretty young, 16, and families can be demanding. Some of the ethnics and all that want their kids to grow up in a particular environment and don't move out till they buy a house and all this sort of stuff. Did you have family support or not really much family support? Because I think that for a lot of people to get an understanding of people, they sort of need to understand that, is this a supported process? Because it's a bit different than if you sort of, you pulled up your bag and, moved to a different country sort of thing. Just
Mhm.
quickly, because we'll get onto the music more in a sec.
Yeah, for sure. I've had a really supportive family. My dad's a musician, artist, kind of mad scientist person, and my mum works in social work, so she works a lot with just healthy well-being and mental health. And so I've been really lucky to be
Oh,
supported.
sensational.
And similar for me, my father, he's in a science background. He did want me to go to university and study, science or maths or something a little bit more tangible. And when I told him this is what my dreams are, he actually was very supportive and said, all right, we'll go for it. So, and my mother also has run businesses throughout her life. So she was a very positive role model for me to see how she was managing businesses and I guess, yeah,
Fantastic.
take into her shoes. So.
I think, it gives us a bit more understanding of where it came from. Okay, so let's talk about your sound. What sort of a sound, how would you describe your sound? And for people that think that we should be doing this individually, I think that it'll come together a bit later because we're going to be talking about events that both girls are a part of, etc. But we're just starting to create a bit of a foundation so you have an understanding when they start talking from a perspective you understand. So how would you describe your sound? If you said, is it traditional or does it have a particular bent or?
Um, I'd say mine is sort of a pop hip hop. I'm a little bit more upbeat, a little bit fun. I always say I can't sing, which is a limiting belief. I do end up singing my hooks. So yeah, more of a rapper than a singer. And just like to have a bit of fun with it for myself.
Grace?
Oh yeah. I'd say the bars have like a heavy 90s boom bap influence. And then I do a lot of like neo soul in the hooks.
Okay, so now let's talk about what new music have you got going out? What can the fans go and see or expect to see soon?
I've been releasing a single a month this year, so the next one's dropping on the 30th. It's called Never a Juliet, and it's the idea of not subscribing to the Juliet archetype of dying if you can't have the person you love, and referencing back in the day with Shakespeare that the men would play all the parts, and it's kind of a parallel to what we see now. And then the month after, I'm releasing a song called Himalaya, which is just heavy rap the whole way through.
Sensational.
So excited to see that one live, Juliet. For myself, next year is going to be the year. So I had a baby this year, so I've
Oh,
got an eight month old. Um,
touchdown.
Yeah.
so obviously had a huge life change and had to really focus on looking after a newborn baby for a few months. And it did take away a bit of my space from creating music. However, once I started feeling back in myself and this figuring out this new version of me, I used the music and the art to help me process that. And I've written a whole bunch of music that I am in the process of compiling to release next year. And excitingly, through the process of rap hip hop and meeting and collaborating with other artists, I'm going to be doing an album of all features. So I'm picking and choosing different artists from sort of the rap hip hop community. We've already done 3 tracks with 3 different lots of artists, and a lot of them are going to be the women. So I'm really excited to bring those songs out.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. And you say you bring out an album next year.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That sounds good. We'll look forward to it. And there's every chance you're going to see all of that stuff here when it comes out. So,
I should say
good.
I'm dropping an album next year as well. I keep
Whoa.
forgetting.
So you can come back here and find it if you can't find it anywhere else, but you'll be able to find it everywhere else because that's just the nature of the beast these days. All right, let's talk about some tours and events, which is one of the major reasons we're here. You've got Miss Ripe coming up. Miss Ripe, can you explain what Miss Ripe is about and what it all is, what you're working towards?
So Miss Right, which is coming up this Friday, it's all about the ladies. This one is a spin-off of Ripe Hip Hop. So we've called it Miss Right because obviously it's an all-female lineup, and we also have all-female MC and female DJs as well. So it's interesting that we have to actually put on a particular night to showcase just an all-female lineup when a lot of the time most of our lineups are mostly, men. So it's a very interesting experience that we have to go through and sort of put on this particular night. But we wanted to attach it to a cause and something that really allows us to speak more about something that may be going on in the community and that other people can relate to. And this particular event, we have chosen a domestic violence charity called Friends with Dignity that we are going to be raising money for as well. A lot of the artists I've found within the community have songs that reflect these sort of things like toxic behaviors with relationships, whether it is with their partner or friends or whatever it may be. And it's important that we can express that and let other people know that you're not alone and you are, lots of us have gone through the same thing, especially women do go through this. So it's just about opening the conversation. And yeah, we want to have as many women there to support the women. I find the energy is different when we've got all the ladies in the room and it's super supportive and it's just a really fun girls' night. So.
Well, that's interesting. When you saw Kamala Harris run over there, they had about, 400,000 women or something rather overnight on this collective Zoom call. It turned out to be, and a whole number of people. So women can support women. So I suggest that's a good cause, especially today with like I say, with the Trump situation. So women, get out there, support women. Grace, you're performing there, are you?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, it'll be
So,
awesome.
so what's your view of the Miss Ripe? How did you come upon Miss Ripe?
I'd seen the last one that they'd done from Tassie. My friend Clara played it and it looked awesome. And it's very rare for me to be playing all female lineups because there's really not many women that rap here in Tassie, or they were, and then they've all moved to Melbourne. So I'm really excited, and it's always fun to just be on a lineup with new artists and be able to listen to new people and be introduced to new artists and new people and new audience. Yeah.
Sensational. And you also run events in Tas, and you put on an all-female event recently called Culture of Queens. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that the title is a flip on the old Australian compilation album Culture of Kings, which featured two women on different volumes, Layla and I think MC Trey. And I put that show on in Melbourne in May, and next year I plan to bring it to Tassie. And it's a lineup of all female rappers with an underground sound, good message, all different people, but just unapologetically themselves. And I think having them, like, we didn't really have any speech or anything at the start, but because of the way that it was curated, that set the tone of what was okay and what was acceptable at the gig. And the vibe was just awesome.
Oh, that's great. And have you got much more going on? Probably not this year too much because it's at
Yeah,
North
I'm
Time.
touring. I'm on Mishap and Greeley's Tassie tour in December. I've got a few more shows in December, and then I'm playing in New Zealand for New Year's Eve at Twisted Frequency Festival.
Oh,
So
that's
Freaky
fantastic.
lady.
Yeah, yeah. Greeley's a madman, isn't he? No,
sorry,
I was
a
saying,
madman.
no, I think the whole hip hop scene, you've sort of got to understand it because basically, from the outside, it just potentially, especially America, looks like it's all TNA and it's all, but when you really get into it, it's a really musical style that you can understand. And especially if you think about Eminem and, historically the messages he sent throughout his life, it's a very, very important genre. And
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
artists are not just, madmen, or mad women. They're really telling a story most of the time with what
Yeah.
they're doing, and in some ways more of a story than traditional music.
Well, historically, it's became like a thing because it was so political and it was people's minorities talking about what their experiences were and what they need in their communities. And so I think it's a very prolific genre because it gives a voice to people who didn't have a voice and people who weren't being listened to.
Yeah, it's mad. Katia, what do you got coming up? You've got some more ripe hip hop stuff coming up,
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah, we run the event every single month. So it's a monthly event. Each month changes the theme. Sometimes we just have a regular night just for the community to come along, jump up. That's one of my favorite nights. So we just sometimes run a full open mic. And everyone comes and just shows each other what we've been up to, what music we've been working on. And I find that the community is actually each other's biggest supporters. Like we are all cheering each other on, and it's an incredible thing to be a part of. Next year, we'll obviously doing Miss Rap again. We're definitely going to be doing it regularly every, hopefully, 6 months. And I think the next biggest one coming up is Rap Fest 2.0. So we put on a little mini festival and we had techno music outside in the garden at the vineyard. And then we had nonstop hip hop all day long. So it was an all day into the evening event. We had 30 artists on the last one. So looking
Whoa,
forward to doing that again in summertime next year. It's going to be a big one.
how do you manage 30 artists?
Oh, easily. They're all lovely. It's not a problem.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. We know that for a fact. So it's not like we won't get into it. All right. So let's tell us where we can find both of you because the captions will come up and people will be able to see whatever that is. So tell us a couple of places where we can find you while they're listening. They might be able to take down what the captions say. So what?
So for Ripe Hip Hop, it's Ripe Hip Hop on Instagram, just RIPE Hip Hop. You can find myself's personal music on Spotify. I've also got YouTube. So if you just look up my name, KATIJA BURCUL, you can see what I'm up to there. And Grace?
Grace?
Yeah, same Spotify as my name, Grace Chia. Instagram is This is Grace Chia, and my website is gracechia.com.
Okay, so this is where we're going to get into, people can turn off at this point. No, no, no. We're going to get into a few of the, normal questions that people ask into artists. All what would you do if finally fell on your head and, all that sort of stupid stuff. So let's just finish the interview off with some of that personal stuff so that we can find out a few bits and pieces here. If you could perform with any music artist alive or dead, who would you choose and why? And they're pretty confronting, some of these questions, because they put you on the spot.
Grace?
I would say Layla from SBX or FK Twigs because they're very different, but they're unapologetically themselves and push the boundaries of how women are seen in the entertainment industry.
Cool.
I think I'd love to do a show with someone who was an incredible dancer like CHIA or someone like that because I love hip hop dancing and for me I'd really love to do a show that would be, all about the dancing and the performing.
And the child hasn't slowed you on that dancing sort of
Oh
process?
no, I was dancing all weekend, so
Yeah.
has not slowed down.
Fantastic. All right. What are your long-term aspirations still? If you had a vision and you're sort of saying, I'm 45 or 50 looking back over the last 20 years, have I realized what I was after? What would you like to think that turned into?
I think what I'm doing now, but like further in the trajectory, I'd really like to tour Culture of Queens nationally and have a local lineup of women everywhere and have workshops that help career development with women in hip hop. And just, yeah, make music for a better tomorrow, try and make the future better in the different avenues that I work in.
Well said. I second that. And I would love to just keep providing a platform for local up and coming musicians. It's just really warming my heart to see these people come out of their shell, and to give some people it's their first ever time stepping up on a stage at like our open mic, and then you see them bloom, and next thing they're collaborating, and then they're making an album and performing and just like chasing their dreams. So I love helping other people to facilitate chasing their dreams, and I'd love to help get more of the Melbourne hip hop scene on the Australian music scene map, because it's so underrated. There are so many talented artists that are hidden here, and wanna get that out more.
Okay, so we'll go back to a few of the stupid questions before we end up on a serious one. What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
I get manic and say yes to lots of things. Earlier this year, I ran a 10.5 hour fundraiser gig that was like music the whole way through. There was life drawing, there was chess, there was all this stuff, and we're raising money to reopen a venue that got shut down. Last weekend I played a set and then I left and played a different set at a different venue on a podium in the middle of a dance floor, and then went back to the venue and played another set with like a live hardcore band and rapped over that. So I don't know, I feel at home in the crazy.
Sorry, you said you were 25 or 40? What did you say you were? I think you're a bit ahead of your time, Grace. That sounded fantastic.
I'd have to say mine's a different kind of crazy. The craziest thing I've ever done is growing a life inside.
Yeah, that's so fair.
It's wild.
You took the cake.
Yeah.
Well, half the audience just turned off. They can't do that. What's the one topic you can talk about for hours?
Sci-fi.
What was that? Sci-fi.
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 Yeah.
Like
Science
fiction and yeah. I think I talk a lot about the meaning of life. I don't know. I have a lot of I could talk about it forever in all different aspects.
So when you say the meaning of life, though, you're talking about sort of conscious. That part of the whole process that you're about is to build not just events, but a network of support. So it's not only about the performance. It's about trying to help's the wrong word, influence people in a way that's conscious, I presume. And I've had a couple of conversations with KATIJA, and I can agree that that's what she's after. What's the thing you like most about yourself?
My resilience.
Yeah, I can feel it. I've felt it already.
For me, it is the fact that I don't let fear stop me from anything, and I'm very, very hardworking. I'm not lazy. I do not stop like from morning till night, and I love that about me. I don't know where I get the energy from, but I do.
Okay, here we go. These are the worst questions that people hate. So we'll have a few questions, and then we'll just finish on a final note. Favorite album?
At the moment, Painting on Silence by Concept of Thought.
For me, I have to go old school. Like for me, my favorite albums, to be honest, have been Mary J. Blige. That was like I grew up listening to that and falling asleep to it every night. So,
okay, which one?
The one with the blue cover. I can't remember what it's called.
That's all right. We'll work it out. Favorite artist?
Vel 9.
What's that?
Vel 9, Vel the Wonder. She goes under different names.
I've never heard of her before. Who's she?
She's a dope MC from California and also sick painter, and just really in that culture, very herself, and it's just very inspiring.
I have to check her out. For me, again, it's I grew up listening. The person who got me into music was Eminem, and I'm just obsessed and I love him. And yeah, I think he is absolutely a lyrical genius. So
Superstar.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
That was an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I loved Avatar. I think that was
Yeah, that was interesting too. The second one didn't really catch me, but the first one was good. Favorite place to visit?
Home. Going home, see the family. I don't get to see them much anymore, so yeah.
Home is
Launceston, yeah.
Croatia, where my father's from.
Mm.
how long's he been out here for?
Just before the war broke out, so
Oh,
long.
so lucky, so
Yeah.
lucky, so much. But you would have had family and all that involved over there, I'm sure.
I lived through all of that. And funny thing is, my partner now, he's Serbian, so we're like a Romeo and Juliet story.
You couldn't have done it when the war was going on.
Yeah, no.
They were killing each other. That's interesting. Favorite venue to play?
Well, I have to say the Vineyard because that's
Yeah.
where Ripe Hip Hop is. So
That's
big
it.
shout out to Johnny and the Vineyard too. They've been an amazing support for providing this platform for us. So shout out.
Mm. I would say Simple Cider, which is the venue that got shut down, so it's a bit bittersweet. But I love that they were really community orientated and they put on for emerging artists, all these different genres, and had a great vibe. So hopefully something will start up like that again.
Favorite food?
I think I love my spaghetti bolognese. It's the one that my dad made, and now I make his recipe.
Bag bowl. Bag bowl. Yeah.
Peking duck.
What's that?
Peking duck reminds me
Peking
of
duck.
my dad.
I was hoping you were going to say Parma, so we could have a real, Aussie
Yeah, that's
cultural
true.
moment. But
It's
Peking
my
duck.
half Chinese side. What can I say?
Favorite drink?
Sparkling water.
Green tea.
Favorite person in history? You've met me now, so you can
That's a
include
crazy
me.
question.
Favorite person in history.
I'm gonna say Qing Shi. She was the most successful pirate in history and like had a crazy story of resilience.
Pirate,
Yeah.
female.
Yeah. She's the most successful pirate ever in history and she was a
She's the most successful pirate, female pirate or pirate? Full stop.
pirate. Pirate.
Oh my God! And what
Yeah.
era? What era?
A very long time ago, but she never got caught. She like decided to like surrender and didn't go to jail and she was a prostitute and then she changed her whole life
man.
around and became like the guy that wanted to marry her. He was like, "Can I marry you?" And she's like, "You can marry me if I get 50% of your fleet." And then he died and then she became the boss of all the fleet. Yeah.
Wow.
She's
Young.
really,
How old? How old was she when she was pirating?
I don't know. She was pretty young when
Yeah.
she was a prostitute. So yeah.
I think about. I'm sorry, Katya. I was just going to say. I think about Joan of Arc. You
Yeah.
talk about women. Now, here's a girl that was 19 or whatever and led armies and stood up and got burned
Yeah.
at the stake and all that sort of gear. And I
Mm.
think to myself, we talk about struggle, and I mean, really, these people, the person you just spoke about, that's just amazing,
Yeah. She's
really
so cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it's no different in one sense to what you guys are doing, because you guys are doing your own thing that other people will probably look back on and talk about and say is amazing as well. So that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm going to look her up.
Mm.
She sounds
What a
amazing.
crazy story. Yeah.
Sounds amazing. And no movies? Surely I would have thought there'd be 100 movies about her by
No,
now.
no. They did a character of her based on her in, I think, one of the Pirates of the Caribbean's movies, but it wasn't like she wasn't a main character.
Oh wow. Well, that just goes to show you about the male world that we're in. We sort of
100%.
if the guy signing the check doesn't think it hits him somewhere, he just doesn't bother. Sorry, go on, Katya. What about you?
Well, I have to probably say two because I have to pick a woman, but also so Eleanor Roosevelt. I think I did studied a lot on her
An
and
absolute legend.
yeah, and I just feel like she really paved the way for women's rights and civil rights and did a lot.
What a
And
couple.
yeah, Franklin, great guy if I'd known him. And then the other person would be Shakespeare. Because I mean, incredible, like how much poetry and art has come from Shakespeare, and it still goes to this day. They do Shakespeare plays in the garden across from my house, and so
Mate,
much art has evolved from that.
one of my favorite movies is Shakespeare in Love. Have you seen it?
Yes, I
I
have.
haven't
It's
seen that.
you've got to watch it. It's just such a hoot, and it's so fantastic. It's terrific. And just before we get on to that last question, here's a Roosevelt quote: "Far better to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither suffer much nor enjoy much, because they live in the grey twilight that knows not victory nor defeat." And that's a Teddy Roosevelt quote from 1899. The
And
Roosevelts were
just
pretty.
have that on the top of your head there.
Yeah. Because it basically it sums up something about, and this is basically what we're talking about here, and we're going to talk about a lot more. Maybe not today, but we're going to continue to cover this process because the subject is so vital. Is we're talking about a lot of people just survive. And, it's far better to fail big or win big, because just keep going for what it is that you're after, because who knows, you might end up being the most successful pirate of all time and you're female. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
just a mad thing. And what you both are doing, seriously, and I've been around the traps a long time, is just sensational. And I can feel it and I can see it, and I just know that it's going to occur, and we're going to hopefully be a part of it. All right, now, do you have a tattoo?
Yes.
Both of you?
No, I don't.
No, well, I was almost going to expect that, but no, sure, that's a nasty thing.
Well, not that anyone knows of, so no, I
There
don't.
you go. Grace, do you have a favorite tattoo?
I've got a vase on my arm that my friend Royal did, and the detail always blows me up. So yeah, I'll
Ah,
probably pick that one.
all right. So let's finish off with just a final statement. Like a bit of advice, but more so advice, definitely, because there'll be people here that are sitting back doing exactly what I said a couple of minutes ago, sort of surviving and a bit, they've got a bit of talent and they think, or they want to play a part, but they don't think they're important enough to play a part. And you can't have a gig with 30 artists and have just one person at the top. There's a whole group of people that are doing something that bring it together, and every one of them is important. I'm sure you believe every single one of them is important and plays a part. So maybe you can give a bit of advice from what you've learned, and also a bit of a call out to people to, collaborate with you on these projects and come along and support, but also if they want to be a part, especially the females that want to make a stand in this, Trump world of,
Yeah.
push women back. Let's leave off on those two statements. So I'll leave you. The floor is yours.
I think the first step for anyone that's looking to get out and get involved is to just take that first step and come along and see what the community is about, because it's absolutely incredible. I know we keep repeating like support and network, but that is what it is about. So when you come along, whether you're an artist, a creative, a producer, a painter, a drawer, whatever it is, come along to some of these events like Ripe Hip Hop, like Breaking Bread, like Culture of Queens. Come in and meet the people that are in the community and just get involved. So if you have always been wanting to get up on that microphone, sign up for an open mic, register, get up and do it, and take that first step to kind of stepping into your true self and who you want to be. And it's just about us all coming together and helping each other. So like you said, that event with 30 people, we had so many people donating their time and helping, and it was a big cumulative effort of everyone coming together to put this amazing event on.
Mm.
So you just, all I can say and all the advice I can give is just come along. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Like, we're all human. We're all here on this journey of life. We're all here to connect with one another. We're all here to support one another.
And
That's
and
good.
I'll just add in quickly that failure really is discovery. So if you turn up there and no one claps or no one or something or other, you're going to discover something, because someone's probably going to come up to you and say something to you, and that's going to be the relationship that changes your life.
You never
So
know
all of
who
these
you're going to
things,
meet. You never know who you're going to meet.
you
And
never
that's
know who
one,
you're
one
going to meet.
connection leads to the next, to the next, to the next. And all of a sudden you look back and you're like, wow, look how all this has unfolded from that one, taking that one step.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I would second that. Definitely be immersed in the community you want to be a part of. Like the 10 gigs you're not playing at, still attend, support people.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first step is always self-belief. It's always looking at something and going like, I can do that, and then following that and be yourself, because that's like, even if you see someone on stage and you're like, this isn't really my vibe, but you see them being themselves, there's something really like that magnetizes you to that, and it's kind of inarguable. Um, so I think, yeah, just authenticity and self-belief and connecting to others, because that's what drives you, and using the doubt and the things that you may have done a set and you're like, that wasn't the best, but using that as fuel to get better.
Well, I tell you, this has been a great chat. You know, I knew, obviously I've spoken to KATIJA a few times, and you know, I've known of this, but it's always different getting into the weeds. And both of you are amazing people, and I am certain that you're going to go a lot further. Well, you've already gone a long way, but you're going to go a lot further, and we're going to be supportive of that. So anyone that wants to follow can follow here. We'll put up some stuff. We'll share this video. Probably I'll try and get it out today, so we'll share the video, but we'll share other things along the way. So keep an eye out, and we'll probably do some giveaways maybe at different stages and all that sort of stuff, and we'll get you involved. But seriously, you know, we're going through a time where the next few years is going to be challenging because of what's taking place in the biggest, you know, country in the world, and they're basically suppressing bringing back that whole patriarchal, you know, let the male make the decision and the whole world will be better sort of thing. And so this is the time before it occurs when we've got to stand up and represent, and this is a great way to represent. So I encourage you all to, even if you're just on the edge, turn up and have some fun, have an adventure.
And a huge thank you to you, Dave, for birthing Amplify and also giving artists a platform and a voice to be heard and for people to find them and learn more about them. Keep doing what you're doing.
I think I've got a, you know, basically got a quantum belief, and we've had a little chat about this, that we're all connected. So basically we're all turning up to each other. And as soon as you can detach from the measurement in your head of, you know, looks and fat and thin and rich and poor and all the different things that sway you, well, then you just turn up and you just contribute in the way that you contribute. And because both of you have enormous talents that are obvious to the eye, you're opening yourself up to just be who you are rather than who you are as determined by an external sort of force. And so you're pushing yourself forward. And this is what I encourage everyone that's listening or that potentially will listen, that if it's going to be, it's up to you. You know, what's that saying? If it's going to be, it's up to me. It's that sort of situation. And so keep looking at the example of these people, these two ladies here, and draw support from their effort. And then turn up, and you'll find that the physical experience of that will be unbelievable, and that will probably start you down a different path. So that's where these two leaders are going to help us learn a lot more about these things that they're involved with, but the wider subject as well. So thank you. Let's get this out, and we'll do a lot more of some promotion moving forward. Thanks, girls. Thanks for your time today. Love the chat, and all power to you. Final, just before we go, what's the final blast? Ripe Hip Hop, what's happening?
Miss Ripe this Friday, the 22nd of November at the Vineyard St Kilda, 7:30. Can't wait to have these amazing ladies.
And the Vineyard's a great place. So go on down there, you have a ball, go eat on the Esplanade, and then go on across and catch the whole show. And yours, Grace, what have you got coming up next?
Well, Miss Ripe, and then I'm doing the Tassie tour with Greeley and Miss Hart. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.